Hello, everybody. Welcome to GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports, where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Grant. Had a very exciting weekend of football. Can't wait to talk about it. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm ready to also dive into that sort of thing, and we'll do just that by starting with our hot take of the week. What is your hot take for this week?
All right, so this will be the last time I go over it because I feel like I've been beating a dead horse. So I think that the New England Patriots have had the easiest Super Bowl run in probably modern day history. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, this is like a every week occurrence now. I mean,
No,
you
not
really got
every
it out
week.
for these
No,
guys.
not it's not every week, but like it was the easiest schedule, but now it's the easiest like playoff run. Um, Did I do this last week, actually? I don't think I
No, I
did.
don't think so. It just feels like it, I think.
Regardless, I think it's even more so just because of how things have kind of unfolded in these playoffs. So, it's just, CJ Stroud just happens to have the worst game probably of his life against the Patriots. He had 4 interceptions, 3 of them in the first half, and then I think he had like 2 fumbles or something. So, CJ Stroud has. Actually, we'll go and get into that a little later, but yeah, everything's just falling into the Patriots' way. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, right now they're definitely looking like the favorites in the AFC, that's for sure. Um, but with the whole CJ Stroud thing, I mean, it's kind of like I said last week. Your hopes on the Texans beating the Patriots would have been how much you have faith in CJ Stroud. And I know last week you were a little more optimistic on him, and I was more negative on him. So it kind of shows the two sides of the story there. Um, he did not show up. He did not play good at all, and now the Patriots got handed another win. So I do sort of agree with that hot take, and we'll get into the depth of that a little bit more
Hmm.
as the show goes on. My hot take of the week is more of a hate watch that was successful over the weekend. I think it's finally it's time to start saying it. I think Josh Allen is overrated. He's great during the regular season. We've seen him win MVP. He puts up fantastic numbers in games that don't matter. But when it's time to play playoff football, he never gets the job done. It's plain and simple. And now, as much as I dislike the Buffalo Bills, now the head coach of the Bills, McDermott, has been fired now. And I don't think that loss was on him this last week. I don't think that he went out there and had 4 turnovers like Josh Allen did. He was dealing with a defense that was mostly injured. A lot of their second string, third strings out there. So I don't understand why he got fired at the expense of Josh Allen being mid, like he always is in the playoffs. Um, but yeah, that's my hot take of the week. I think Josh Allen, it's finally time to start saying he's overrated.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely get into that in a little bit.
Oh, and then one more point that I wanted to point out. This is now his 7th straight season of being eliminated in the playoffs before making it to the Super Bowl. So just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Yeah.
All right. Now we'll go ahead and slide over to our underdog of the week. Mason, who is your underdog for this week?
My underdog of the week is Charlie Becker, one of the most clutch probably receivers in Indiana history. Uh, Amazing, phenomenal game last night in the national championship. Charlie Becker had, let's see what he had. He had 4 catches for 65 yards. It doesn't really light up the stat sheet, but the fact that he got one of his catches, I believe it was like 3rd and 10 or something, a little back shoulder, and then the exact same thing later in the end of the fourth. He got like another back shoulder. Just phenomenal catches, and really, really set Indiana to where they needed to be to win this and close that national championship game. So huge shout out to him and that whole Hoosiers football team.
Nice. For my underdog of the week, I wouldn't say this player is necessarily like a underdog as far as like getting talked about, but this last season he kind of had a more quiet season for his standards, but really heated up in this divisional round game, and that is Kenneth Walker, who had 19 carries for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns in that absolute butt whooping that they gave the San Francisco 49ers. So I kind of just wanted to shout out Kenneth Walker. I know there's like a meme going around of the fantasy owners that had to deal with Kenneth Walker being mid all year, seeing him get 3 touchdowns in the divisional round. But overall, a great game from him and a big reason why they were able to dominate the 49ers. So I just wanted to shout him out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll stick with the NFL. We're going to slide over to first. There's been a lot of head coaching news. Obviously, with 10 open positions, that's going to be a lot of the news for the future of the NFL. Right now, I kind of just want to go over some of the acquisitions. We have Salah, who last night signed with the Tennessee Titans. Halfley signed with Miami. John Harbaugh obviously going to the Giants, that being like the big one. And then Stefanski to Atlanta. So, Mason, what are your thoughts on sort of this head coach situation going on in the NFL? Who do you think made a good move for a head coach so far? That kind of thing. Let's talk about it.
I think, first of all, I'd like to say how bad it's gotten with the whole coach carousel thing. I think it's kind of turned into college, where if they don't produce in the first 2-3 years, they're gone, and it's really hard to build a program that way. I'm not gonna lie, I think that, like I've mentioned, it's kind of gotten a bit out of hand. Some of these guys, sure, they should have been gone, but McDermott kind of made me raise my eyebrow. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, was that this whole thing entirely on him? It's kind of always like that one last thing, kind of like a Harbaugh situation where they get there, but they just can't get over the hump. So it's very questionable. I think that solid to Titans will be very interesting. I think that the Titans and their whole roster and their whole everything have a long way to go. So that'll be something to look for. But him and Cam Ward should be pretty, it'll be interesting to watch. So halfway to Miami, I think that'll be good because Miami really needed, someone defensively minded, and they got that from Green Bay's DC, which is great. I know you wanted him or Shula, which I think they would have ended up great with either. And Stefanski, it was kind of interesting because I was never really too involved with kind of all the stuff going. I never involved myself as far in all the news that kind of went down with him and Shador and all the Brown stuff. But I know a lot of people are high on him. So him going to the Falcons, I think, could be kind of a new resurgence for his, career. And, put him with Bijan, Pitts, and, Penix. I think it could be good for him. And obviously Harbaugh, I'm very big on. I'm not going to get, too into it because I don't want to do a whole bias thing. But I am very happy and excited for it. I think the media has gone a little bit insane over the whole situation as far as just publicity and everything, but it is a culture change and it is a guy who can, win games. So hopefully he can, do so in New York. So that's kind of all I have to say.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you're saying there. The whole NFL head coaching thing is kind of just a joke to me at this point.
Right.
I really don't understand. The McDermott one is the one that really made me raise an eye as well, because I'm watching the Bills play the other night, and I'm like, this is not on the head coach. Like I said, maybe I'm just being biased here, but I thought that game was on Josh Allen personally. I think that you can blame him for the reason they lost the game. I just feel like it's so easy to cop out and blame the head coach. So I think that's what's going on right now. It's something we kind of see in the NBA, but not to this extent. But maybe, I'm not too into college football, but you said it's kind of like college football, so I'll take your word for it there. As far as the new head coaches, I think the two biggest ones is obviously Stefanski going to Atlanta. I think that's a pretty interesting move, like you said, with the weapons that Atlanta already has. And then Harbaugh being the biggest one, going to the New York Giants. Already got some young talent there in New York. So bringing a guy in like that with 18 years of experience to develop those young players is going to be a great move for the Giants in the long run. I'm not saying that it's going to make them immediate contenders. I don't think anyone really expects that, but it's definitely a great move for them to make. And it was always going to be him, in my opinion, for who the Giants were going to get as soon as that headline came out that he was fired from the Ravens. Still some big names out there. Obviously, Mike Tomlin is probably the biggest one, and then now McDermott as well. So
no, Tomlin stepped down. He's not going to coach anymore.
Oh, he's just done? I thought I saw rumors that he was
at
going to
least
interview.
no, at least for this season, because Ravens offered him an interview and he declined. So maybe it was
Oh,
just
okay,
that, but
gotcha.
I know he said that he's stepping down for at least a year.
All right, well, we'll see what happens with a lot of these head coaching positions opening up and a lot of different candidates, coordinators, former head coaches. We'll see
Yeah.
what route these teams go. All right. Next thing we'll do is go ahead and get into our divisional round takeaways. Mason, I'll let you go ahead and start with yours.
Yeah, so I'll kind of keep it pretty brief. There's a lot to go over. So the first thing I'd like to say is how grateful I am just for these playoffs. You don't get a postseason like this, like very much, if at all. 6 one-score differential games just in the last 2 weekends, 2 overtimes in this weekend alone. No repeat champions, not even in the AFC Championship games. None of those guys. And that's just a kind of quick overview of like how I'm just grateful for this. And then to get into the Texans Patriots game, Will Anderson and that defense did all they could, in my opinion. It's just Patriots have one of the best offenses in the league. Will Anderson Jr. had 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Just there's nothing he can do to combat Stroud's 5 interceptions, 5 fumble in 2 week kind of thing going on, or in the postseason. Whatever. So he's had a horrible offseason, just can't combat that. And then obviously Drake May playing well, good enough, and that offense played good enough. And huge shout out to the Patriots defense as well. So that's that for that. And then for the Broncos and Bills, you kind of went over it a little bit. Josh Allen's had 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles, 2 lost. And this is one of the most bittersweet games I think we've had in a playoffs, because obviously Broncos coming off of a high, just to go suddenly into a low where Bo Nix breaks his ankle and they have to rely on Jarrett Stidham for the AFC Championship game, probably the biggest game since 2018 for the Broncos. So that will be very interesting for Stidham versus May. And then Seahawks 49ers, not much of a game. Niners had 3 turnovers to Hawks 0. Just little no offensive movement. Like you mentioned, Kenneth Walker was the factor for that Seahawks offense. Rashid Shaheed opened up the game with 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And Sam Darnold, I think he had like 100-something yards. Like, he really didn't have too much of an impact on the game. But, it's still good that he's healthy, because obviously if he wasn't, it would be an issue, but maybe not as big as the Broncos, in my opinion. Rams Bears, that was obviously the game of the weekend. Williams had a phenomenal game until the overtime turnover. He did have 3 interceptions, but I think the other 2 interceptions were much more quiet than that last interception in overtime. You cannot let Stafford have another opportunity after a 3-and-out in overtime. So it was kind of like a Cinderella run coming to an end, and the Rams kind of put the boot on it. And it'll be a very interesting NFC Championship, and I cannot wait to watch it this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. For my takeaways, I like to go more into the conversation route, so all of mine are open ended here. Starting out, obviously, like we said, Bo Nix not going to be playing. With Bo Nix out, do the Broncos stand any chance against the Patriots in this championship game?
I think the pressure's always been on the Denver defense, and I think that it's even more reliant on it. And Stidham, I think, is just going to have to kind of guide the offense, I think, through, because Patriots have a heck of a defense, man. So I think they have a chance, but it's very little, and it's kind of reminding me of a Nick Foles Eagles thing against the Patriots a while ago. So I think that there is, but it's very slim.
I do think that there is a chance for them to win, because if you just look at the 2 playoff games that the Patriots have played, it's come off of, Herbert played a terrible game, and
That's what
Stroud
I'm
played a
saying.
terrible game. So it's like, if Jared Stidham can kind of just game manage this game and let the
Just
Broncos
be
defense kind of do
average.
their thing, because okay, like, I think a lot of quarterbacks could have won that game last week for the Texans. I'd be willing to say there's probably 20 quarterbacks out there that could have won that game,
Yeah, I
if
can
not
see that.
more. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that if the Broncos can play the defense we know they're capable of playing, and Jared Stidham can kind of just game manage and not turn the ball over and kind
That's
of,
it.
just do all he can to not turn the ball over and get some points on the board, whether it's field goals, touchdowns, however you can get them. I think they have a chance, but they're going to be just huge underdogs coming into this game. I think that the Patriots should win this game easily, but as Nick Foles said, Patriots have always had a hard time beating backup quarterbacks. So we'll see what happens there. My
Yep.
next talking point: are the Seahawks the most dominant team in the whole league right now? Like as far as the remaining teams, I guess.
So outside looking in, I think it can kind of be easy to say so that yes, they are, but then you have to look at how damaged the 49ers are and how damaged of a team that wait, who did the Niners play the week before? Oh, the Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles were damaged as well. So, I think that the Seahawks are very good. I don't think that they're unbeatable though. I think that there is a chance that I think it would happen in it's either the NFC or the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously that's what's left, but I think these next two games are going to be the biggest deciding factors if they can win it all. So I think, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think out of the teams remaining, the only team that kind of is close is going to be the Rams. Like
I
you're saying,
agree. Yeah,
so
that's yeah.
um, so I think this game is really the Super Bowl in my eyes. This
That's what
Rams
I was. Yeah,
is yeah, like, I think I agree with you there. Yeah, I think that those two teams are the most dominant. I will give it to the Seahawks for right now for being the most dominant, just because of the
right.
fashion that they're doing. They're winning these games. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks, but I really think this Rams Seahawks game is gonna be must see TV.
Hmm.
All right, my next talking point: is Matt Stafford the best quarterback in the playoffs remaining?
I think so. I don't think. Obviously, there's a debate with Drake May and Stafford, but Stafford has the experience. We saw he got the ball back in his hands. He was not playing around that insane throw to Devontae Adams. He was, you could see a switch flip, in his head that not a lot of these guys that are left in the league, in the playoffs that can do. So I think, yes, he's the best quarterback, if not in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. I think that he is the best quarterback remaining. He's just so calm. And like you said, the experience, you can't talk about that enough. That's what it is at the end of the day that
Mhm.
separates him from a Drake May, is the experience that he's gone through. Um, and as far as Drake May, like we've looked at, he's struggled a little bit in these playoffs. He has
He
not had a
has.
pretty
Uh-huh.
pretty playoff run so far. So I think it's no doubt Matthew Stafford right now. Just so calm and collected. What he did last week against the Bears, it wasn't the flashiest, but it got the job done and
Mhm.
it won them a game. And that at the end of the day is what matters. And I feel like he's always going to give his team a chance to win the game. So yeah, I'm also going to agree with you there. All right. All right, this is a fun one because I mean we know how you feel about this. Did the Patriots only make the AFC Championship due to weak opponents?
Yeah. Next question.
Okay, I'm gonna agree with you there. I'm not trying to discredit the Patriots. Their turnaround that they had this year has been very
Right.
impressive, but there's no denying that they've been playing weaker opponents compared to everyone else. And now they're going to be going against Jared Stidham for an AFC championship. And I just feel like that's kind of going to be the talking point. It's kind of reminded me of the Celtics finals run that they made a couple years back when every team they faced, the star player like got hurt on the other
Mhm.
team. So it's kind of reminding me of that, and it's going to be talked about. Sorry, Boston fans, not really. I don't care for
Not
Boston fans
sorry
too
in the
much. Uh,
slightest.
um, all right. My final talking point is kind of interesting. I was so inspired by the Bears and that play that Caleb Williams made at the end of that game, and I just was kind of gutted when they lost. But it lead me to this talking point. Will Caleb Williams be a top 5 quarterback next season?
If he can limit the turnovers, I think so. Because you kind of see that he can be a little reckless with the ball sometimes. I don't know if that was luck or God on that end of the fourth, the game tying. But that could have easily been like because he wasn't looking at all in the slightest. You could just see him throw it up.
It was all
So
trust.
that's what made it so that yeah, that was so amazing. So there's been plays like that to where they have been turnovers. So if he can kind of limit those and kind of trust his guys and trust himself, I think that yes, he can. Um, five, five. It'll be interesting. I think it depends a lot on other players as well.
Yeah.
If it's like a year like this, yeah, I could see him because obviously Daniel Jones is a top 5 quarterback this year, so I think he
Mhm.
can.
Yeah, I think that the raw skills are just there for him to be able to become that top 5 quarterback, but like you said, the decision making at times is a little questionable, but I mean, this is
Hmm.
his second season. Those were his first 2 playoff games, and some of the throws he was making on during that run was
Oh,
just
I know. I
unbelievable,
know.
and there's no denying that arm talent. His arm is just incredible, and that alone is going to get you into top 10 conversations, I feel like. So if he just develops his decision making a little bit more, and also another thing I'd like to see for him do, especially in this last game, use his legs a little bit more. We know he's mobile,
Yeah.
and I feel like
Hmm.
that could have really changed the game for them, and I just feel like he wasn't scrambling at all. He was getting outside the pocket to improvise and make passes, but I would like to see him actually run the football a little bit more because I think that's a whole new element to his game that he can unlock there.
You know what I think would have changed the game also? Um,
Mhm.
Taking some early field goals, but
Yeah, that is a fantastic point. I think that Ben Johnson's going to have to learn from that one because honestly, you could have probably won the game if you took field goals the first couple of drives there. But um, are they gonna change that?
first year
I
head
don't think they
coach.
will.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's got to
So
understand what's more important to
right.
himself and the team.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just say Caleb Williams is the only one that needs to develop over this
Yeah.
offseason.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna go straight into our championship round predictions. Those will probably be quicker since we kind of talked about
Yeah.
our takeaways. First we have Patriots versus Broncos. Ultimately, who do you think is gonna win?
Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going Patriots as well. As much as I would love to see the underdog story of Jared Stidham going out
Oh,
there and winning a game, I just don't see it happening.
I'm gonna be the biggest Broncos fan this weekend. It's gonna act like the Giants never got publicly humiliated by them this year. So yeah.
The full 360 that you've done on the
Oh my
Broncos this last
gosh.
couple of weeks has been crazy.
That's what Broncos and that's what Boston and Philly does to a guy.
I get it. I get it. All right, and then we have Seahawks versus Rams. This is the more interested one that I want to hear your opinion on.
I think that if there can be I love Seahawks defense too, though. I think Seahawks will win, but I think it's going to be a fight, man. It's going to be like the Bears kind of Rams game, but I think that it'll be a little bit of a higher game, our highest scoring game. But I think that the Seahawks will win just because they have a better all around team, in my opinion, especially defensively. So yeah, I think that the Seahawks will win, and it'll be Seahawks Patriots.
I think the Seahawks will win also just because I love how well-rounded their team
Yeah, yeah.
is compared to the Rams. The only thing that worries me is I gotta say I'm still worried about Sam Darnold in a game like this.
Oh, absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
going into this game worrying if I'm a Seahawks fan about what he's gonna do.
Yep.
Um, so that's
With
like the
that
one
injury as
thing.
well.
Yes, yes, exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Seahawks, but if
Mhm.
Sam Darnold goes out there and plays like CJ Stroud, the Rams are gonna win this football game, no problem. So um, we'll see.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won at all.
No,
Matt
yeah, me
Stafford is
either.
just a guy that if Matt Stafford is leading your football team, there's a chance every week that you're going to be able to win. So I'm like you said that there's just two different kind of resumes that these quarterbacks carry. One is I can get it done every week, and then there's another where it's like I might be Jets Sam Darnold any week. So Yeah.
Yeah. I am right there with you. I wouldn't be surprised either way that this game could go. Um, but I am going to pick the Seahawks as well to win this game, just ultimately because I like how balanced their team is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll see what happens this weekend as we watch those two games transpire. And now we'll go ahead and slide over to the NBA. Real quick, just going to start with a point that broke this morning. Jimmy Butler is now out for the season with an ACL tear. Pretty big loss for the Golden State Warriors. Mason, I don't know if you have too many thoughts about this, but I'll let you go ahead and take this away if you do.
Yeah, not too many thoughts on it. It's just I saw something this morning where it was, Christian McCaffrey was at the game, so he took another soul, even though the season's done. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it was unfortunate to see. Obviously, he's going against his former team, which is my team, the Miami Heat, and it was a very entertaining game leading up to it before his injury. Jimmy was actually playing a very good game against us. Andrew Wiggins, who was a former Warriors player, was playing a fantastic game up until that point, and then obviously that injury happened, and you kind of forget about basketball in that moment. I'm
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
still a huge Jimmy Butler fan. I mean, I have his picture framed up above me. So seeing him go down like that, it stinks to see, and it's a huge loss for the Warriors, who are already kind of in a mediocre spot this season. I mean, that's how Jimmy Butler himself kind of referred to the team as a mediocre team right now. And now, I mean, they're going to be lost without him. So it kind of goes to show, though, that if you have a team with an older core, you're taking that risk because these guys are older
hmm
and like we've seen Steph Curry miss time with injuries, we've seen Draymond miss time with injuries, and now Jimmy out for the season. It's kind of a risk you're going to take when you have these older rosters. So very unfortunate to see, but the Warriors are going to have to figure something out if they want to compete this year. But I think they're kind of done, personally.
yeah. I did too.
All right. Also in the NBA, the All-Star starters have been announced for both the West and the East. I'll go over them real quick, and I want to hear if you have any snubs that you want to replace someone with. So the West is Luka, Jokic, Shea, Steph, and Wemby, and the East is Giannis, Brunson, Brown, Maxey, and Cade Cunningham. Is there any snubs on that list for you?
I don't think so, but if they're to go head to head, I think West would win just off of the size differential.
So we actually have the new format where it's going to be USA versus
Yeah, I
World.
saw that.
So it's
I
gonna be
saw that, which
mixed
is
up, I believe. I don't really
I
know
think
fully
that's
the
sick.
full formatting of it, but it'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
As far as snubs, I don't think so. I mean, I haven't been following other players and other teams as much as probably you have, but I mean, everyone I see here has had an amazing season. So I mean, I'd
I
agree with
think
it.
Yeah, I think the East is perfect. I wouldn't change anything about it. I think all of those players should be starters. The West, I have
hmm
one swap out. I would change out Steph for Anthony Edwards, but that's just personal preference. I think you can go either way on
Mm,
those two.
yeah.
Um, so if there was to be one snub that I'd pick, that would be the one. But I mean, Steph obviously having a great year. So and you also don't know how many years of Steph you're going to have left. So you want to see him
Yeah.
start as many All
Yeah.
Star games as possible. So I'm not too mad about it. I don't really think there's any huge snubs where it's like we've
Mm-mm.
seen past years. So and as far as
Yeah.
this new format goes, it's going to be very interesting to see because if you look at the Eastern Conference, or no, sorry, the Western Conference, I mean, 4 out of 5 of those starters are international players. So it's going to be very interesting to
That's
see the
true.
formatting of this
Yeah.
in the future, or how I'm still not too sure about the format. I'm sure we'll learn more about it as we get closer to the actual thing and once they announce the reserves and stuff like that. But yeah, just something to keep an eye on. That 4 out of the 5 Western Conference players are international.
hmm
All right, now we'll get into our normal NBA topics. We'll do our player and team of the week. So Mason, who's your player of the week for this week?
I thought I'd shout you and your team out, and that's Bam, Eastern Conference Player of the Week. 27 points per game, eight. I think it was rebounds a game, and then 56% from three. So he's really able to kind of get it all done. A lot different than how he was a few years ago, and I think that's really what Heat fans and just everyone was hoping would happen.
Yeah, I'm also going with Bam because Bam has had a
I
terrible start
figured,
to this
yeah.
season. So seeing him kind of break out of his slump a little bit and start to really get loose out there, it's been good to see. The thing with Bam is like he always goes through like little stretches for like a week or 2 weeks at a time where he just he can't shoot, he can't finish at the rim, he struggles offensively, and then when he gets it going, like how he has it going right now, you're asking yourself like how is this guy not a 25 point per game scorer? Because when he's on, it's so smooth, it's so effortless, his jump shot is so pure. I just don't understand
Hmm.
how this guy ever struggles. I don't know if it's a mental thing, I don't know if it's a confidence thing, I don't know if it's because he's given so much energy on the defensive end that he's tired on the offensive end. A lot of factors can be going into it. But I'm happy to see Bam start to heat up here, because boy, we need it right now with how mediocre the Heat are. I know I was saying how the Warriors are mediocre, but the Heat are right there with them as far as mediocreness goes. So, yeah, shout out to Bam for starting to turn it on a little bit. Now we'll go ahead and get into the team of the week. So, Mason, who's your team of the week?
I went with the Trailblazers. Although they're 22-22 right now, they did go 8-2 in the last 10. So that is something that should be shouted out. So shout out to them.
Yeah, fun young team. Denny Avdia having a fantastic year. He'll probably make that All-Star game. Probably going to win Most Improved Player this year. So they got some good young talent on that team. So I like the shout out. And I would like to return the favor because you shouted out one of my guys. I'll shout out your team for my team of the week, and that is the New York Knicks, who have gone 2-8 in their last 10.
What are we
And
doing,
are
bro? What
I
are we
was
doing?
returning the favor.
I
You were
I'm
shouting out Bam.
watching
So
it. No, 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 no. That's not what we're gonna do. I'll give you a team of the week. How about that? So the
yeah, while
last
you look
10,
that up, I'm gonna go ahead and give my reason why I
another
picked the
good
New York
team of
Knicks.
the week could be the Spurs went 7-3 or 6-4 in the last 10. That's pretty good. Clippers went 8-2 in the last 10. So shout out to them. They're on a 6 game win streak.
Yeah, we shouted
So
them out
yeah,
last week though.
yeah, but they're still doing well.
Yeah. Speaking of not doing well, the Knicks 2-8 in their last
Come on,
10,
I
getting
didn't
booed off the
say
court.
that.
Um, the Dallas Mavericks kind of willingly beat them by a lot last night.
This is
We
what
see
New
Cat
York
getting booed
sports
off the
report's
court.
for, not this junk.
Um,
Golly.
so yeah, just something interesting to keep an eye on. I will say this. Okay, wait, let me get to a more serious note here. Um, the thing that like so as a Heat fan, I'm so happy to see you guys struggling, but
Oh, I'm
also
sure.
at the same time, no, listen. At the same time, it worries the crap out of me because now I know at the trade deadline, if you guys are still struggling come trade deadline time, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get like a Giannis or something like that. So as much as I would like to see you guys struggle, I'd like for you guys to postpone it till after the trade deadline, if you guys could. And
Mm-mm.
yeah, we'll go from there.
No thanks. No thanks.
Uh, and then obviously on a serious note, I don't think the Knicks will be struggling for much longer. I think every team hits a rough patch during a season. So yeah, I'm not
It's
reading into it too much.
it's so crazy though because if you look at the Eastern Conference standings right now, the 2 seed and the 6 seed are separated by
Yeah.
3 games.
Hmm.
So it's literally just gonna flip, or the 7th seed as well. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
no.
it,
Last night before the Heat lost to the Warriors, the Heat were only 2.5 games away from being in third place, and we were like at the 8th seed going into last night's game. So kind of just crazy how
it's
open
so
the East
bad.
is.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's so
bad.
bad compared to the West. It really is.
Gosh, dude.
All right. Now we'll go ahead and slide over to the MLB real quick because two of the probably the biggest free agents have now signed this
Yeah.
last week. And we'll go ahead and start with the biggest one, and that is Kyle Tucker to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Mason, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I think my thoughts are exactly what 29 other fan bases our thoughts are, and that's just how can they keep getting away with this? Because it's not even for like it's I'd like to say it's not even for the love of the game, but clearly he just wants a ring. So I don't know what it's for. I get like if you're does it count for legacy, do you think? Does it just add on to legacy at this point? To just tail a team that, you
I
know,
guess so.
wins
Yeah.
the whole time? because that's how it
I don't know. It
feels
feels
right now. It's just
gutless
like,
to me.
oh,
That's if I had to
yeah,
talk
that's what
about
I'm
it on Kyle
saying.
Tucker's
There's
side,
no
it's gutless.
motivation. Right.
Like, all right, let me get into this now because I watched Kyle Tucker play a full season with the Cubs, and I was always very highly spoken of. I spoke very highly of him throughout the season when a lot of Cubs fans were turning on him. I was one that kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt. But as far as a person, as far as Kyle Tucker as the person, he's not a true leader. He's very quiet in the locker room. He just shows up, plays baseball, goes home. He doesn't talk much, doesn't make the effort
So
to be
Dodger,
friends with.
yeah.
Yeah, he's very quiet, and I think he wanted to go to a team where he did. I think that with him struggling with the Cubs last season, where he was expected to be the number one of that team and be the leader of that team, he maybe was like, all right, let me go ahead and go to a team where I'm not the under the spotlight, where I'm
Expected.
not
Yeah.
where I'm not the number one guy. Because obviously with Houston, he wasn't the number one guy. There was Jordan and there was Altuve and Bregman and Correa, all those guys throughout his years there. So maybe that's a factor of it. But I also think it's a little gutless. I think that he, signing with the Dodgers, that's just like, okay, I'm going to sign with, like, it's like Kevin Durant going to the Warriors a couple years.
Yeah,
like,
I was
all
saying
those
that
years
too.
back. But also, they did offer him the most money, so that's also a factor there. Although the Blue Jays did offer him a long-term 10-year contract for $325 million, but that would have been less on annual average salary. So depends on what you prefer there. I guess you preferred the annual salary more than overall salary. But yeah, I would have just much rather seen him sign with a team like the Mets or the Blue Jays, where it's like, all right, now there's like that would be a lot more fun than now all of us just knowing the Dodgers are going to win another World Series. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like it really, I don't know. It just makes me mad. I know that Dodgers fans are always like, well, don't be mad at us. Be mad at your owner for not spending money. Not a lot of teams can afford a $2.1 billion roster going into the 2026 season here. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. As far as the Dodgers side of it, I think that this is going to greatly affect the CBA stuff that has already been rumored to cause a delay in the 2027 season. I think now this makes it even more of a threat for the 2027 season to be potentially suspended. But we'll obviously see more of that as we get closer to that season. But yeah, I think it's safe to say, I know there's the whole debate. The Dodgers are ruining baseball. They're not ruining baseball. To me, they're completely ruining baseball. I don't know how you can wrap it any
Yeah.
other way. I know people are saying like the whole argument is, oh, it should make other owners more competitive to want to beat the Dodgers and sign big names, but just not
Yeah.
everyone can do that.
No. Like
Like
it's
it's
just
just
unreal.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
There's gonna be no like Rangers Diamondbacks, World Series like a few
Yeah,
years ago. Like
exactly.
last year's Blue Jays was the closest we are gonna get to something
Mhm.
like that happening. And Dodgers like, all right, that was too close. Let's go sign Kyle Tucker. And
Yep.
it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, the lineup's just absurd. I mean, Kyle Tucker is a number one option on like I'd say 25 of 30 MLB
So,
teams, and
yeah.
now he's probably like the fourth or fifth option of that Dodgers team. So it's just absurd. They just signed him because they could. At the end of the day, that's what the
Mhm.
Dodgers did. They're like, oh, we can throw this money at him, so let's go ahead and do it. Why not? That's how it feels to me. Um,
Mhm.
all right, but next thing we have was Bo Bichette signing with the Mets literally the following morning. To me, this kind of just feels like the Mets panicked a little because they were all obviously the team that was expected to sign Kyle Tucker, and I think losing out on him, they kind of hit the panic button a little bit. I was like, all right, let's just go get the next best option, who is Bo Bichette. Mason, do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was gonna say it kind of feels like a rebound kind of thing to where like you put all
Mm,
your eggs in one basket, the basket gets taken, and it's like, oh man, I only have pennies now. So just maybe not pennies, but it's like you said, it's kind of like the next best thing. I think that he will help out that team a lot, but obviously it's nothing compared to like what Tucker would have been. I think.
yeah. The one thing I will say about the Mets and their offseason so far, it's been confusing to say the least. Their biggest thing going into the offseason was them wanting to improve their defense and their starting pitching. And they have not signed any starting pitchers so far or traded for any starting pitchers. And then on top of that, the two acquisitions they have is Jorge Polanco and Bo Bichette, those two big ones, and they're both going to be playing positions that they have never played before. And on top of that, they're already two guys that are known to be not as good at defense as a lot of other players. So really, they've gone backwards from what their original goals have been for this offseason. So that's just something interesting to keep an eye out on. But man, that lineup is going to bang with Bo Bichette in there. Yeah, we'll see what happens. And then one more thing for the MLB, we'll just keep an eye out. There was reports saying that Cody Bellinger's decision could be coming pretty soon here. So probably by next week's episode, we'll have a place where Cody Bellinger's playing. I still think it's the Yankees personally, but we'll see what happens.
I just love how much work it's been. And this is like literally, this is all we've done in the offseason, I think, or how it feels. Sure, we
almost
picked
have
up,
to sign him now.
Some straggling pitchers here and there, but like, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get Cody Bellinger. Oh shoot, man, we're gonna make the World Series. Man, we lost in the second round last year. I don't want to hear that crap. So it's literally the same exact roster. Sure, got a few more depth pitching arms. So
Ryan Weathers.
It's golly, man. It's some craziness. I can't stand Cashman. I can't stand Boone. Oh man, it's so sick.
All right. Calm it down.
They're wasting Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is the Josh Allen of the NFL at this point, and it's Boone's fault.
Okay.
That's it. Sorry.
All right. We'll go ahead and now slide over to college football where the national championship has taken place. And this will cheer you up a little bit more because we know how against Miami Hurricanes you are. And obviously Indiana went on and won the championship last night. Mason, what were your thoughts on the game? Just kind of, I'll let you go on a little rant here.
Yeah, huge shout out Carson Beck. Made it all possible by ultimately doing what he does in clutch situations, and that's turning the ball over. So last drive, I think it was like under a minute left. He just throws the ball up into probably double coverage, but he underthrew the ball anyway to where it didn't even have to get to that situation. So all jokes aside, yeah, he did his thing. Mark Fletcher had a great game on the ground, 112 yards rushing for the Canes, had 2 touchdowns, had an amazing 57-yard touchdown. So, I mean, he was kind of like the light of that offense as well as Malachi Toney. That kid is going to be insane. He should be in high school still, and he's over here balling on probably the biggest stage in college football that you can have. So he's a better Ryan Williams, in my opinion. You can use him everywhere on the field. So that'll be that for the Miami side. I think that their defense is still amazing, but talking about an underrated defense, I think that is Indiana's defense. They really shut things down whenever, stuff. The whole first half, they went Miami went 0 for 8 on third downs or something crazy. So I think they had 2 or 3 first downs the whole first half, and they were just absolutely balling. Had a punt block for a touchdown. Probably changed the game. Because obviously they had that 7 and they won by 6. So Fernando Mendoza, he didn't light up the stat sheet like, many of the other guys didn't as well. But his willpower on that one touchdown run, you can't deny how bad that kid wanted it. And he's really been showing why he won the Heisman. And I think that, the scouts and the Raiders will probably end up taking him, but it'll be interesting to see how he kind of translates into the NFL if he can do something like that, because it did seem like a bit of a simple offense, especially in this last game. So I know things had to be a lot more fast-paced, but we'll see how it kind of goes. But I'm very happy that the Hoosiers got their first national championship, probably the most historic season for them. And a huge shout-out to Signetti as well. 2 seasons, 2 losses, just amazing.
Yeah, I like it. As far as the championship game goes, looked like it was a pretty fun game. I didn't watch too much of it, to be completely honest. I was more invested on the Jimmy Butler versus Miami Heat game. As I've said in the past, not the biggest college football fan that's out there, so I wasn't as tuned in as everyone else was. I did happen to stumble upon a TikTok live stream during halftime of the Heat game and saw Carson Beck's pick at the end of the game there that sealed the game up. So, looks like it was a fun game. That Mendoza run was crazy. I will say that was a fantastic play. So
that was insane.
Yeah. that's pretty much all I got to say about that game. And
Yeah. Yep.
all right.
Cool.
Oh, well, that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason signing off for now. Have a great week, everybody.